out beautifully there.
What's going on, everybody? I'm coming back today with a UFC Ilya Topuria versus Max Holloway, aka UFC 308 breakdown and analysis / prediction. So the first fight is the Spaniard Chris Barnett, which I don't think of him as that, but it's not the first. I thought he was American, honestly, but I don't even think I've ever heard him talk. So that's neither here nor there. Versus Kennedy and Zekachukwu. I know there's a better way to pronounce that, but I'm trying my best, all right? I'm an ignorant American. So let's just look at this fight really quick. First of all, Chris Barnett's listed weight is higher than the heavyweight limit. He is a chungus. He's 5'9", 268. I know he can throw spinning heel kicks and stuff like that, but he is not very good. Honestly, I'm sorry, he's just not very good. He's also 38, and so I think he has a higher chance of having a heart attack than he does getting a knockdown in this fight. He's got T-Rex arms, and this Kennedy and Zekachukwu has an 83-inch reach, which I'm pretty sure is 1 inch shorter than John Jones, who until recently had the longest reach in UFC history. He's basically behind in everything other than significant strike accuracy. I could see Kennedy and Zekachukwu just kind of taking him down. He's a light heavyweight, so he's got a lot more skill, in my opinion. He's also quite a lot taller with a longer reach. So I don't think this one's going to be close. I think Kennedy and Zekachukwu probably by knockout due to exhaustion, if I had to guess. I just want to make sure. Yeah, because I thought this Chris Barnett fight, was supposed to be higher on the card, but maybe they see what I do. Anyway, Renat Fakhretdinov versus Carlos Leal. I think that Renat Fakhretdinov is probably going to get this one done. If we just look at him quickly, he's got a height advantage, he's got a reach disadvantage, but it's orthodox versus orthodox. I don't know if has Carlos Leal fought in the UFC. No. LFA 187 was his last win. A first round knockout. He has some first round finishes here. Some regular finishes. He lost a split decision in PFL. We just saw how bad the PFL is with the Ngannou thing. That was pretty tragic. I might talk about that at some point, depending on what Ngannou decides to do. I was going to do a breakdown of the card, but I didn't watch either card closely enough because they were happening kind of at the same time to do either of them justice. So I decided not to. I'd hold off and just get ready for this one. And so I made a video specifically about the main event of this card, Max Holloway versus Ilya Topuria. I made that late last week, or over the weekend, maybe early this week. I don't know. It's been a long week. But if you want to see that, I'll put it here or here somewhere. And then I'll put it in a card at the end of the video too. So I have Renat Fakhretdinov. He's 22, 1-1. And he's a legitimate prospect, I think. In my estimation, he's a lot better. He's been in the UFC. He's been winning. He's got what they call a 20-fight unbeaten streak. They don't call it a win streak because he went to draw, but he's unbeaten. So he did go to a draw with Zaleski dos Santos. So we'll see about that. But I think Renat Fakhretdinov's going to get it done by TKO. I'm going to say TKO, or he's going to smother him, but I think it's probably TKO. I'm going to write these down, by the way, so I can keep track. Next fight, we got Ismail Naurdiev versus Bruno Silva. I refuse to think that Bruno Silva's ever going to win a fight ever again in his career. He's 23-11. He's just not very good. He's kind of old. He just kind of sucks. I think Ismail Naurdiev's probably just he's gonna lay on top of him, or he's gonna beat the shit out of him on the ground. He might even submit him. I'm gonna take Ismail Naurdiev by unanimous decision, probably 2-1. I think Bruno Silva will get 1 round, but that's probably it. Farid Basharat versus Victor Hugo. This is a pretty easy choice in my opinion. I don't think Victor Hugo is great. It's another one of those age things. He's not old, but he's not good enough to where I think he's young enough to make anything happen. So I'm going to take Farid Basharat, the undefeated prospect, huge favorite from Afghanistan, rest in peace, by also unanimous decision. I don't think it finishes. It's bantamweight. Finishes don't happen in bantamweight unless you're Sean O'Malley. Abus Magomedov versus Bruno Ferreira. I'm going to take Abus Magomedov here. He's a little bit older, but he's got a huge reach advantage. He's also got an OV name, so he's always got the threat of a takedown. He's got great takedown accuracy, as you can tell. And yeah, I think he's probably going to get it done. Minus 140 on the money line for him. But he, a decision merchant, more likely than not. So, Mateusz Rebecki versus come on now. Don't do that to me. Whatever his name is. Jesus fucking Christ. I'm going to take Mateusz Rebecki here. I think it's really just who can get more takedowns. And this guy's from a country that I didn't think existed anymore. So I'm just going to go with Mateusz Rebecki. Southpaw versus Orthodox, in my experience, he's got a tiny reach. He's got T-Rex arms, but in my experience, Southpaw versus Orthodox, I've seen that the Southpaw almost always has the advantage because they've been fighting against Orthodox fighters their whole life, whereas an Orthodox fighter doesn't always see a lot of Southpaws. So they're both kind of at a disadvantage because they're in an open stance, but in my opinion, the Southpaw almost always has the advantage there. I understand Mateusz Rebecki's a pretty big underdog, but I'm going to take him. I'm going to take him by probably decision again. I honestly think that for a lot of this card, it's going to be kind of a snooze fest up until probably we get to Lerone Murphy's fight. So, yeah, I'm going to take Mateusz Rebecki by decision. Jeff Neal, Rafael Dos Anjos. I'm going to take Jeff Neal by TKO. I think Dos Anjos is a little too old to be doing this sort of stuff. He's too short. His reach is too short. Both southpaws, but I mean, so Jeff Neal always has a puncher's chance because he hits hard, and Rafael Dos Anjos always has a Charles Oliveira chance because he's a great BJJ fighter. So I'm gonna say that Jeff Neal is probably gonna keep it on the feet. I don't necessarily think that Dos Anjos is going to take him down or be able to really effectively at all. I know that Dos Anjos is big on submissions and getting into the ground. I don't think it's going to happen, not at his age. So I think Jeff Neal's too quick. I distinctly remember thinking in his last few fights that he was faster than his opponent. So next fight, Ibo Aslan versus Rafael Cerqueira. I'm going to take Rafael Cerqueira. I think he's going to stay undefeated. He's not yet fought in the UFC, I don't believe. No. Demo fight 19, whatever that is. Okay, wow, that's bad. You know what? I'm going to take him anyway. I feel bad not doing that, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to take him by decision, probably. He's Brazilian, though. Will he get a submission? No, he's not. I don't know anything about this guy, actually. Now that I look, I should have probably figured out who he was first. But, I mean, I'm doing okay. A bunch of randoms, and I know who some of them are. So, Sharaman Magomedov versus Armen Petrosyan. I think Shara's going to win this. It's going to be tit for tat. He's going to be going for his little left high kick jab that he does. He's probably going to grab the fence a few times like he likes to do. And I think he'll get it done 30-27. He'll win every round by like this much, and it'll be super embarrassing to watch. So, as a fan of the sport, so Lerone Murphy versus Dan Ige. I'm gonna take Dan Ige here by TKO, and I know that sounds crazy, but and maybe I'm putting a little bit too much stock in Dan Ige because he came off the couch and took a round off of Diego Lopez, I think. I don't remember what the popular consensus was on that fight, but I remember thinking, he won a round. I think it's going to probably stay on the feet. I think Lerone Murphy probably thinks that he can knock Danny Ige out, and he probably can. I don't think so. I think that Danny Ige is probably going to win by TKO. So that's my thought. Clown me in the comments if you feel like it, which I'm sure you will. Magomed Ankalaev, Alexander Rakic. Alexander Rakic looks super good against Yuri. The only problem is he hasn't won a fight in 3.5 years. So here's my thought. Alexander Rakic looked super good against Yuri until Yuri put him to sleep. And I don't think Magomed... I think Magomed beats everybody in the division except for Alex. And so I'm going to pick Magomed. I think I'm going to take him by TKO. I don't think Rakic's chin is great. I'm pretty sure Yuri got him with a hammer fist that wobbled him and then eventually put him out. Like, I don't know if this is 100% true. But how I remember that fight going down is Rakic is clinching. Maybe it was an elbow to like the side of the ear. I might be going crazy, but that's how I remember that. So I don't know. I think Rakic is a great striker. I really do. But I think Magomed either suffocates him on the ground and just lays on top of him. But I think that that's a big misconception about Magomed Ankalaev because of his name, because he's Russian and whatever. I don't think he's really that type of guy. I think he's going to whip the shit out of him on the feet. So that's my pick for that. Robert Whittaker versus Khamzat Chimaev. I want to pick Khamzat because I want to be right. Because I think there's a distinct possibility that Robert Whittaker doesn't survive what Kamaru Usman did in that fight. But I know that if the fight gets out of the first round and Khamzat acts the same as he did in the Usman fight, that Whittaker will put him to bed. Whittaker looked really good in that fight against random Russian. I can see his face. And it's not pretty. Okay, I'm going to have to look at his profile now. Son of a bitch. I didn't want to have to do that. I feel like a casual now. Ikram Askarov, thank you. He looked really good against Ikram Askarov. He read him well. I don't think Khamzat's a great striker. I know he's undefeated, but he's got 13 fights total. A lot of them in the UFC. I get it. One of them against Usman. He beat Kevin Holland pretty handedly. Beat Gilbert Burns. He also has other fights. But yeah, no, I don't see him winning. I think Whittaker is gonna win this one. I think it's going to be hard in the first round for Whittaker to get going. I think he's probably gonna struggle with the fact that Khamzat's gonna be shadowboxing at range, like 40 feet away, and then going in for takedowns. It's probably gonna throw Whittaker. I think Whittaker's gonna be afraid, but I think once he's gassed, Chimaev that is, he's so screwed, so unbelievably screwed. So I'm gonna go with Whittaker via TKO. I think a round if it makes it this far, I think round 3 is a good bet. I think if it makes it to a round 4, one of two things happen: either Whittaker carried him into the 4th round, or Khamzat figured out his cardio. I don't know which. Khamzat looks like he's way less lean than he has been in his past few fights. I don't think they've weighed in yet as of the recording of this video, so that could change. He could lean out like crazy, but he doesn't look super lean, so I'm curious about how his cardio is going to look. Maybe it'll be better, maybe it'll be worse. I don't know. I haven't quite figured that out. So I'm going to take Whittaker by TKO round 3 or 4, probably 3. Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway. I made a whole video about this again. It'll be linked at the end of this. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Normally I'd spend like 10 minutes on this, but I don't want to do that because I don't think that's necessary. But I do want to talk about the fact that, first of all, I watched Max Holloway this morning on Mighty Mouse's podcast. He was talking about his reach and how he has T-Rex arms. He, for maybe the first time ever, doesn't have a reach disadvantage against his opponent. So that's interesting. I think that is probably not that significant, honestly. Max, the way he moves in and out, kind of negates any reach disadvantage he's ever had. I think he's had the reach disadvantage in a lot of his recent fights, and it hasn't mattered. Like Gaethje, I think Gaethje dwarfed him as far as reach goes. Let's see, Gaethje. Gaethje has a... Come on, show me his reach. Am I stupid? Am I fucking stupid? Dude, am I fucking dumb? I guess. I don't know. Whatever. I can't find... 70 inches. So he didn't actually dwarf him like I thought he did, but it's fine. It's whatever. Max is taller by 4 inches. Max looks good. I think he had a good weight cut, from what I can tell. He looks solid. He sounds good. He sounds confident. I mean, I know that, like, it's funny because I keep seeing, like, Guru talking about, we're going to find out October 26th. We're going to find out October 26th. But, I don't know. I think it's maybe reading into it a little bit too much to think that, like, Max is afraid. I think he just genuinely doesn't give a shit about anything other than fighting. It's honestly kind of hilarious. But, so Max is still young, obviously. Max has a granite chin. He did admit on Mighty's podcast to being knocked down by Gaethje. Everybody was calling it a slip. He's never officially been knocked down, but apparently he has, according to him at least. So, you know my pick if you watched my last video. I'm picking Max Holloway. I don't think Topuria is going to be able to get in on Max the way he got in on everybody else. Max already said he plans on circling to the left instead of the right. If you watch the fight with Volkback and just about everybody else, they circle to the right toward his power side, and then once he hits them, they shell up like this, right? And or whatever, and he gets a hand on him to feel him out, and then delivers a final blow. So, there's no denying Ilia Topuria has ridiculous power. I think he torques really well on his shots. I just think Max can make him miss he doesn't strike a lot. Like, he's not a volume guy. 4.4 significant strikes per minute, where to Max's 7. He's not a lot more, like, he's not incredibly accurate. He's not a sharpshooter. Max is a volume guy, so you can kind of expect this number to be a little bit lower. But with a guy like Ilia Topuria with such low volume, it's kind of crazy that he's undefeated 15-0 and the champion with this sort of accuracy. I know that he takes people down a lot, and he's a great submission artist. I understand that. But if you look at who he's fought, like, I get it, okay? But, like, Bryce Mitchell made him miss, right? Like, he beat him via submission. I don't think he's going to beat Max via submission. I don't think he's going to take Max down. He's not Islam, right? Like, he can finish you on the ground, but I don't think he's going to take Max down like that. So, I'm going to take Max via probably unanimous decision. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be a close fight. I think it's going to be probably 48, 47 or something. I don't know. It's going to be close. 49, 46 maybe. I don't know. Sal D'Amato will have it 50-45 Holloway, Topuria. Whoops. But yeah, I'm taking Max here. You'll see I picked a lot of underdogs. I think the odds makers are idiots. And I also think odds don't matter in MMA because whoever is, there's so many external factors that just make it impossible to predict. So, with that said, those are my predictions. That's my brief breakdown of everything. If you want to see my last video on this fight, specifically this main event right here that you see in front of you right now, click the card at the end in the outro, and let me know what you think down in the comments. Leave a comment, leave a like if you enjoyed this and you made it this far, which I'm sure you didn't, because my voice is monotonous and annoying. Subscribe, I guess. Be my first real subscriber, because my only other subscriber is my other account. So, without further ado, I look forward to breaking this down with you on Saturday night or Sunday morning, and peace.